back to my channel. Today I'm going to do the Perfect Palette Tag 2. I watched my friend Alex from One Beauty Addict. She did this video a while back. It's been on my list ever since, so that's what we are doing today. My husband took both my kids, so I have about 20 minutes to film a really quick video for you guys, and this is a perfect video to do because it won't be too long. So I have everything picked out for you. There was only one question I had some troubles with, but I was able to pick one for you guys. I'm so happy to be sitting here with you guys chit-chatting about makeup and just having some time for myself because I definitely needed it today. So let's go ahead and get started. The first question is eyeliner, brush, or nothing. I never use the eyeliners. I never use the brushes at all when they come with palettes. The only thing I will say that I do use when they do come with palettes is an eyeshadow primer. I definitely use those because that is something that I really don't like spending my money on, is an eyeshadow primer. There are some great ones at the drugstore, but when a higher end palette comes with a primer, I get really excited. The brushes, I will try them once and then I will never touch them again. Unless I'm traveling, then maybe I might use the brushes. And eyeliners, I'm a liquid girl. I love liquid eyeliners, and my favorite one is by Kat Von D, the Trooper liner. So yeah, I really don't reach for those. And drugstore brushes, I don't even bother with them because they just don't work out for me. So yeah. Number 2, a palette you have hit pan on. Okay, so this is the only eyeshadow that I ever hit pan on, mainly because at the time this was the second eyeshadow palette that I owned in my collection. I owned the original Naked palette and the Lorac Pro. So I hit pan on the color Cream, which is this bone shade right here. I use this to mainly just to set my entire eyelid, just to throw on as a base before I start putting in my transition color. And I almost hit pan on Mauve, which really scared me at the time. So that's why I kind of only use this palette on special occasions, because I just don't want to hit pan on that shade Mauve. So this is probably the only eyeshadow that I will ever hit pan on in a palette, just because I own so many of them now. Number 3, favorite Naked palette. This was so easy for me and for so many reasons. It is the Naked Original palette. This was the very first palette that I ever owned in my collection that was high-end. I owned quite a few drugstore products, but I just love this palette, and I can create any look with this and I will not be disappointed. So my favorite shades in here are Buck, Half Naked, Smog, Dark Horse. I love them all, to be honest with you. I even love these like navy shades in here, which I never use, but these are actually really pretty colors on the eyes, especially on brown eyes. I think this looks really nice. So overall, it's a great palette. It is definitely my favorite Naked palette. Number 4, favorite holiday or limited edition palette. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it is limited edition, but I thought I seen something on Instagram that it was back in stock. If it is, I'm gonna link it down below for you guys because I think it is a palette worth getting. It is the Too Faced Stardust by Vegas Nay. I just love this palette. This is another kind of go-to palette for me if I'm going out on a night out, girls' night, or date night. This is the palette that I will wear. Look at all those pretty shades in there. This is the perfect palette for brown eyes. So if you have brown eyes, definitely get this because you got these purples, you have your gold, you have these beautiful warm shades. I just love this palette. Number 5, a palette you would repurchase or wish you had a backup if it was no longer available. I'm gonna bring it back to the Lorac Pro palette just because you do get your matte eyeshadows and your shimmers in here, and it's a neutrals palette. So it's just a great everyday. You could do a good daytime look, an evening look. It's just a very versatile palette. You can create a lot of different looks. So definitely would repurchase the Lorac Pro. Now, the other one that I want to talk about that is limited edition that will no longer be available soon. You can still get it now, but I want to mention it because it's only $12. Yeah, I think it's like $12. It's really affordable and I think it's really good quality. It's by BH Cosmetics. It's the Carly Bybel palette. So I'm gonna link it down below for you guys because if you don't have this, I would definitely get this. I love all these like highlighting shades in here, but you can use these as eyeshadows too, which I do use. And I love both rows. There's only one eyeshadow in here that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know why it's in there, is this shade right here. It just doesn't do anything. It just, I don't know, it's just not a shade that I reach for. But for $12, this is an amazing palette and you will not be able to get your hands on it soon. So definitely get that. For 12 bucks, yes, get it. Number 6, a shade you wish was sold individually. This was the question that I had a hard time answering, just because when I look at an eyeshadow, it's like, well, I have that in another eyeshadow palette, or I have it in a single already. Like, just because I have so many eyeshadow palettes and eyeshadow singles, but I was able to narrow it down to one. So I basically picked a palette that I never really use, and it is the Makeup Geek palette by Manu MUA. I don't really reach for this. I maybe wore it like twice or like 3 times and I haven't touched it since. And the shade that I wish was sold individually would have to be Luna, which is this color right here. There's some shades in here already that you can get individually, but I know that this shade you can't because I think he created this shade. It's like this rose gold copper color. It's really pretty. It's one of the foiled eyeshadows. I was gonna pick Insomnia, which is right here, but Makeup Geek does have this in a loose pigment. It's not pressed. I think you can only get the pressed in the palette. But yeah, definitely Luna would be my choice. I just think it's a really beautiful shade to have all over the lid. So, number 7, wild card. Pick a question from the original perfect palette tag to answer again. So I went with the 7th question, which was least used. And my least used palette is by Urban Decay. It's the Electric palette. The reason why I never use this is because the shades are just way too bright for me. And I mean, I don't dress up for Halloween, but I mean, if I did dress up for Halloween, this would probably be the only time I would ever use this palette. You guys, like, there's some shades in here that I haven't even touched, like literally haven't touched at all. I did do a look with this palette way back in the day when it first came out. Maybe I'll link that down below for you guys if you guys are interested in checking it out. But yeah, this is a palette that I hardly ever use. And I mean, besides my Kat Von D eyeshadow palette, the limited edition one that came out at Christmas time, let me get it because I just absolutely love that palette. Let me show you. Yeah, it's the Kat Von D Mia Vida Loca palette that looks like this. I mean, this is another eyeshadow palette that is very colorful, but I love this over the Urban Decay one. I mean, because it does have some neutral shades in here as well too, but I love this palette. These are the only 2 palettes that I own in my collection that are like crazy bright and just colors that I really don't reach for that often. But I love this palette, you guys. Oh, I'm so happy I got my hands on this palette, truly. And the last question, the palette you would recommend to a friend. The palette that I chose that I would always recommend to somebody is by Too Faced. This is the Chocolate Bar palette. Now, why would you not recommend this to a friend? I recommend this to quite a few of my friends already and they love it. I love the cute packaging on it. I do have the original packaging. I think now you can get them a lot thinner, which is nice, but it looks like a chocolate bar, and when you open it up, it smells like chocolate, which you guys already know because everybody that talks about this palette in their videos says, oh no, it smells like chocolate. Yes, it smells like chocolate. So here are the shades. It's just a neutral palette. It goes with a lot of skin tones, and a lot of people really love this palette. And you still have a pop of color in there too if you want to add some color. So this is a palette that I would recommend to anybody. And those are all the questions in the palette tag. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be tagging a few of my friends down below, so make sure to check that out. And if you are not following me on Snapchat and Instagram, you should. I'm going to leave it down below for you guys. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you guys here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye.